Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and get straight to the insights you need. Today we're plunging into a topic that's, well, it's both exhilarating and, let's be honest, maybe a little bit daunting: pursuing education abroad. For many of you, this isn't just some vague dream, it's a meticulously planned life step. But navigating that whole complex labyrinth of applications, deadlines, university choices can often feel less like an exciting adventure and more like an overwhelming quest. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Imagine having a seasoned guide, maybe a true mentor, to sort of light your path, someone to make sure you don't just reach a destination, but the right destination for your, long-term success. So our mission for this deep dive is really to equip you with the crucial distinctions, the real-world wisdom you need, basically how to separate a genuine guiding light from someone who might, frankly, just see you as a number in their quota. We've pulled together some fascinating articles, some insightful research, and even some seriously eye-opening first-hand accounts from students, stuff to give you that edge.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, and what our sources consistently seem to highlight, is just how profoundly the right guidance can shape things. It's not merely about your admission chances, but your entire educational and career trajectory. It's huge. This isn't just about getting accepted into a university somewhere. It's really about strategically setting yourself up for long-term academic fulfillment, professional achievement.
Yeah.
We'll delve into those critical distinctions that honestly make all the difference, helping you understand not only what to look for, but why these nuances are absolutely vital for your future.
Right. So let's start at the beginning then. If we're searching for this guiding light, this ideal student counselor, what does that actually look like? How do we define that ultimate partner in our educational journey?
Well, at its core, an ideal student counselor is someone who is genuinely, deeply invested in your long-term educational and career success. That's the key. They fundamentally go beyond the purely transactional stuff, securing an admission letter or getting a visa sorted. Their true value isn't measured by the sheer volume of students they send abroad. It's really about how many of those students actually succeed, how many thrive, and ultimately complete their education with a strong foundation for their career. It represents a real foundational shift in perspective from just throughput to, genuine outcomes.
That's a really powerful distinction, moving the goalposts, like you said, from a simple sales metric to a profound life success story. So if we're looking for this kind of long-term investment, what does that look like in tangible, practical terms for us as students seeking guidance? What sort of relationship are we actually talking about here?
Okay, so this type of counselor acts as a true mentor. That's the word. They offer comprehensive mentoring and coaching. They help you make choices that are authentically aligned with your goals, your academic aspirations, your professional goals, not theirs, not some university's quota. They're more than just application processors. They should be reliable, encouraging, fundamentally ethical, always prioritizing your best interest. Think of them like a lighthouse, guiding a ship through, a complex and often choppy ocean journey. They're making sure you navigate treacherous waters, avoid the hidden reefs, and ultimately reach your chosen port safely, successfully, and prepared for what lies beyond.
So they're with you for the whole voyage.
Exactly. Not just the initial push from the harbor.
The lighthouse metaphor really resonates, but of course, where there's a guiding light, there can also be shadows, right? Our sources make it pretty clear there's a very different kind of professional out there, the sales-driven consultant. How do these two archetypes diverge, and what makes the latter maybe a less ideal choice for such a pivotal life decision?
Yeah, that's the critical contrast we really need to get our heads around. In stark opposition to the mentor, a sales-driven consultant's focus is often much, much narrower. It's primarily centered on the admission and visa process as an end in itself. Full stop. Their motivations, frequently driven by commissions they get from specific universities or, service providers. And this often leads to a volume-driven approach rather than one centered on individual student outcomes. They might be more like a ferry operator, focused on swiftly transporting as many passengers as possible across a pretty short stretch of water. The concern is less about what happens to you once you disembark, or if that particular landing spot is even the best long-term choice for your journey.
Right. The transaction is the goal.
The transaction is the singular objective, not your holistic, sustained success.
So the goal for them is just moving people, yeah? Not necessarily guiding them to their best future. That's a crucial difference to recognize, which of course raises the obvious question. How do we actually tell these two types apart? How do we avoid the ferry operator when we genuinely need that lighthouse? Our sources offer 3 crucial, really actionable tips to protect your journey And here's where it gets really interesting, because these aren't just abstract ideas, they're like your personal toolkit for assessment. Okay, let's dive into these 3 essential tips for you, our listener, to empower you in your search for the right guide. Our first one, and maybe the most foundational, is tip 1. Be safe. What does being safe truly mean when you're entrusting someone with your study abroad dreams?
Okay, being safe. It's maybe less about general reliability and more about securing guaranteed post-arrival support and having clear contractual commitments. You really need to watch out for agents who, despite all the initial promises, effectively just disappear once the visa process is done. Poof, gone. A huge red flag here is a counselor who itemizes and charges for every single tiny interaction or piece of info, like a new form, an email reply, even basic advice on packing.
Seriously? For patching advice?
Yeah, it suggests their priority is just transaction completion, maximizing immediate revenue, not investing in your broader journey, your welfare, beyond that first lucrative hurdle. A truly committed counselor, they integrate these services into a holistic support package. Because they get it, your journey extends far past getting a stamp of your passport.
That's a vital distinction. It's not just about them being there for the initial sprint, like you said, but for the full marathon. But how can a student actually, vet this long-term commitment before they sign up? What kind of questions should they be asking?
Great question. You should explicitly ask about their post-arrival services. Straight up. Do they offer orientation, airport pickup help, assistance with accommodation, even basic stuff like opening a bank account in the new country? A reputable mentor will have clear protocols for this. They won't be vague. Also, scrutinize the service agreement. Really read it. Does it clearly outline the full scope of support, including what happens after you arrive? And crucially, what are their fees structured around? Transparent, all-inclusive packages often signal a long-term approach, whereas those incremental charges for every little query, that screams transactional mindset. Look for signs they facilitate connections with alumni or current students too. That's a real indicator of community and ongoing support.
That makes perfect sense. It's about looking for what happens after the immediate transaction. Okay, moving on to tip 2, be assured. This one really struck me because, like you hinted, it challenges that common perception that bigger numbers always equal better service. What does it mean to be assured here?
Indeed. It's a really crucial recalibration of how we measure success. True value from a counselor isn't measured by the sheer number of students they enroll abroad, period. Instead, it's about how many actually succeed and complete their education, and, importantly, go on to achieve their career aspirations. This principle fundamentally highlights the difference. It contrasts that volume-driven, sales-focused approach, the one celebrating admission letters, with a quality-driven approach. An approach that measures success in real student outcomes, graduation, meaningful employment, maybe further studies. It shifts the focus from their internal sales targets to your external, lifelong results.
Right, so it's not about how many tickets they sell, but how many people reach their intended destination successfully and happily. But how can a student actually gauge these success and completion rates? I mean, consultancies probably aren't publishing those figures, right? What questions should we be asking to get a clearer picture?
You're absolutely right. They probably won't just hand over those stats. But you can ask smart questions. Inquire about alumni testimonials that go beyond just the admission process. Ask specifically if you can speak to students who have actually graduated through their guidance, or maybe those in their final year. Ask about their student retention rates at the universities they frequently recommend. Do students stick it out there? A good counselor will be genuinely proud to share stories of students who've completed their degrees and launched successful careers. They should emphasize careful university matching, not just getting you in, but getting you into a place where you're statistically more likely to thrive and actually complete your program. A surprising fact is that many students drop out not just because of academics, but because of poor fit or inadequate support.
Interesting.
Yeah, and a good counselor proactively addresses that fit issue up front.
That's a really sophisticated way to get at the truth without asking for data they won't give. Okay. And finally, tip 3. Be smart. How do we apply this principle when choosing our guide, especially considering everything we've just discussed about long-term success?
Being smart means proactively understanding and actively seeking out a personal counselor who offers deep mentoring and coaching. Coaching specifically designed to ensure your long-term success. This goes way beyond just securing an admission letter. It emphasizes a supportive developmental role, helping you cultivate the skills, the resilience, the critical thinking you need to thrive, both academically and professionally. It's about ongoing guidance, preparing you not just for university, but for life after university. Ask yourself, are they just helping you fill forms? Or are they helping you strategize your personal statement, prepare for interviews, understand cultural nuances? Are they even helping you plan potential career pathways after graduation? It's a relationship built on empowerment, not just transaction.
Empowerment, not just facilitation. I like that. So, how can a student assess this mentoring and coaching style during those initial interactions, before they commit? What are the telltale signs of someone who truly embodies this proactive, supportive role?
Okay, look for signs that they're asking you really insightful questions about your aspirations, your values, your long-term vision, not just your grades and test scores. Do they encourage you to research multiple pathways, explore different options, or do they seem to push pre-selected options, maybe universities they have deals with? A good mentor will challenge you, respectfully, to think critically, help you develop your own decision-making framework. They might provide resources for skill development, like essay writing workshops or interview simulations, things that build your capacity. They won't just tell you which university to apply to, they'll explain why it aligns with your goals and help you articulate that connection yourself.
So they help you find your own voice.
Exactly. It's about empowering your agency, not making decisions for you.
Right. Now, to really bring these tips to life and I guess demonstrate the stark contrast we've been talking about, let's look at some real-world examples. These are drawn directly from the sources we've gathered, and honestly, they're cautionary tales, stories from students who encountered those ferry operators when they desperately needed a lighthouse. Our first red flag, and unfortunately it seems like a common one, is unresponsiveness and unreliability. Our sources have instances where even basic communication became this massive struggle, often with large, supposedly reputable consultancies.
Yes, exactly. For example, one student recounted repeatedly filling out these extensive forms with a prominent global education consultancy, IDP actually, providing all their contact details, doing everything right on their end, yet receiving absolutely no reply. Nothing. This was after multiple attempts over several weeks. Yeah, this persistent unresponsiveness isn't just frustrating. It's a clear sign of systemic unreliability, a profound lack of genuine engagement. For a student investing so much time, emotion, money, it creates immense stress, missed opportunities, and it signals that their individual journey is just, well, not a priority. A good counselor understands the anxiety involved here. They maintain proactive, clear communication. It's basic respect.
That's incredibly frustrating, especially when your future feels like it's hanging in the balance. Okay, the next red flag is arguably even more disheartening: demotivation and discouragement. Especially for a student who has high aspirations, hearing no chance can just be crushing.
Absolutely crushing and counterproductive. One particularly egregious example involved a counselor from SIUK, another well-known name. This counselor flat out told a student, based solely on their undergraduate marks apparently, that there was no chance of getting into any of their shortlisted universities.
Just like that, no chance.
Just like that. But what's particularly striking, and frankly deeply alarming, is that the University of Exeter was on that list. And the student later, through sheer perseverance and ignoring that advice, successfully gained admission there entirely on their own.
Incredible.
It is. Such demotivation doesn't just undermine a student's confidence, it actively works against fostering long-term success. It can push students to lower their sights unnecessarily. Often, you suspect, to benefit the counselor's own agenda, maybe nudging them towards easier-to-place institutions. It's a stark reminder to always seek a second opinion and, trust your own ambition sometimes.
That's a powerful testament to not giving up, definitely, and a clear warning sign about that kind of negative, dismissive counseling. But this next example, red flag 3, manipulation and unethical practices, this is where things can truly alarming. This crosses a serious line, demonstrating a complete disregard for the student's integrity.
Yeah, this raises a profoundly important ethical question, right? What happens when a consultant's goals drastically diverge from the student's best interest and actively harm it? One source detailed an experience with a local counselor. Initially, this person appeared super sweet, very polite, but then they began to subtly, then overtly manipulate the student, trying to push them into attending a particular university that clearly didn't align with their stated preference for a Russell Group institution. It became pretty clear the counselor was pushing this specific option mainly to meet a January intake deadline.
Hitting their targets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Prioritizing their own targets over the student's long-term academic fit, or even their clear preferences.
But the most shocking detail from this story involved a direct, explicit request to compromise ethical standards. This goes way beyond just bad advice or pressure.
Precisely. This counselor explicitly urged the student to forge a reference letter.
Forge it.
Yes, forge it. From their professors and principal, complete with a fake university seal and stamp. This is absolutely 100% contrary to how UK university references typically work, which is almost always a direct, secure email link from the university to the designated referee. This ensures authenticity and prevents exactly this kind of fraud. This request demonstrates an alarming willingness to take the wrong path, as the source put it, just to secure an admission, prioritizing the immediate goal of placement over ethical conduct, over the student's integrity. It's appalling. It put the student in an utterly compromised and potentially disastrous position, risking not just their admission, but their entire visa status, their academic future.
That's wow. That isn't just a red flag, it's a massive stop sign.
It's a hard stop. You walk away immediately.
Yeah.
No question.
So, okay, what does this all mean for you, our listener? The stories, the tips from our sources, they paint an incredibly clear picture, don't they? On one hand, you have the lighthouse that mentor genuinely invested in your success, guiding you ethically, strategically through the whole, often complex journey. On the other hand, you've got the ferry operator, transactional, potentially unreliable, and at worst, deeply unethical, just trying to move you across a short stretch of water, often without real concern for your long-term well-being.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it just profoundly underscores the importance of critical thinking, of self-advocacy, and having a really clear understanding of your own goals throughout your application journey. You have agency here. Being acutely aware of these distinctions empowers you. It lets you ask the right, maybe tough questions, to dig deeper into their promises, their methods, and crucially, to spot these red flags early, before you're too deeply invested, emotionally or financially. Remember, while the application process might feel lengthy, sometimes frustrating, doing it correctly, ethically, and with genuine long-term support is infinitely more valuable. Much more valuable than some rushed, compromised admission that could lead to really significant negative consequences down the line.
Right. It's about building a solid foundation.
Exactly. Not a shaky one.
Exactly. It's about far more than just getting in. It's about how you get there and ensuring that path leads to genuine long-term success, integrity, and a future you've truly earned. Not just a temporary stop or, worse, a fraudulent entry. Your integrity, your future. They're simply too important to cut corners or compromise on. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we really hope you feel much better equipped, more confident maybe, better able to navigate the sometimes treacherous world of student counselors. Knowing the profound difference between a true mentor and a sales-driven consultant, it can genuinely transform your study abroad experience for the better, making it a robust foundation for genuine success, rather than, a potential pitfall.
And maybe this raises an important question for you to consider as you move forward. When embarking on such a significant, potentially transformative life decision, what kind of guide do you truly want beside you? One focused on a quick, maybe even unethical transaction? Or one committed to nurturing your entire successful journey from its ambitious beginning right through to its flourishing conclusion?
Consider deeply how these insights might influence your next steps. Good luck with your applications, whatever stage you're at. And remember, your long-term success, your well-being, and your ethical journey. Those are the real, invaluable measures of a truly successful outcome. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.